Hello, everybody, and welcome to At Home with Maisie and Jordan. We hope you enjoyed the last vlog that we did with Carmel from Long Furlong Farm. And this time we have another very special guest with us.
Yeah, so as Charlotte said, we'll be speaking to Steve from Steve Tye Photography, and we'll just be going over everything that you need to be considering when you're looking for your perfect photographer for your day.
Hello, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning, Jordan. How are you both?
Very well, thank you, Steve. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm very honoured to be on here with you.
Oh, well, we just thought this would be the perfect opportunity to help couples really think about and consider what elements they should take into account when they're looking for their perfect photographer. Yeah, and obviously, you're going to be the perfect person to talk to about that.
I hope so. So first of all, they should hire me. No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, when somebody's decided, taken that big decision to get married, they want to make sure that they are going to capture that day perfectly, so that in years to come they can share the memories of that day with themselves again and relive it and show it to their children and grandchildren. You'll both know, if you've been to anybody who's been to a wedding will tell you, and especially brides and grooms will tell you, the day might be years in the planning, but it goes like that. And at the end of the day, you just think, wow, where did that go? What happened? And one of the big joys I get is when I go and show the couples their photos and they sit there and say to me, oh, I don't remember you taking that picture. I don't remember you taking that. And hopefully that's what the photographer does in developing a relationship with the bride and groom. They will know the bits that the bride and groom want captured and capture those moments, so that, as I say, in years to come, they can relive it time and time again. So yeah.
We're quite similar, Steve, because I remember when I first started, someone said to me, the only two things that people take away from a wedding are the photographs and the wedding dress. Obviously a video if they have a video, but if they don't, they're the two things that they keep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right there, and it's so precious to look back on those memories, and I agree with you in other ways as well. With the two of you, I mean, having worked with both of you closely over the last year or so, it's very important for a couple. I think your question was, what should couples consider? I think the key thing is getting on with the people and being able to trust the people that they're working with. First of all, I think as a wedding planner, Jordan, you can give the couples complete trust that you'll do anything that you can to make their day go smoothly. Charlotte, your boutique is wonderful, and the warmth that you feel when you go in there, any bride is going to feel blessed to choose a dress from you and know with confidence that you're going to do everything that you can to just make them look absolutely wonderful on that day. My job comes on the day when I'm looking at everything and everybody and everything and just trying to capture those moments and what special moments they are, so yeah, I guess the number one, in answer to your question, the number one thing that a couple needs to look for when hiring a photographer or anybody to do with their wedding is trust and build up a friendship. I think I could pretty much say, hands on heart, I've been friends with every bride and groom I've captured so far. So yeah, that's very.
No, I think you're completely right. I think that is essential for when you're looking for a photographer. You are going to keep these photos for years and years, and you can't risk it, really, because could you imagine having your day and then having no photos to show or reflect back on? And
as a photographer, that's my absolute nightmare. It's not having photos to show them. So absolutely not. No, and I do take precautions to make sure that I've got to give them. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You are so totally right. You've got to, you know, you're gonna relive those memories only through the photography and of course if you have a video, of course. But yeah. And of course it sparks, looking at photos of weddings or anything, looking at photos sparks conversation. Often these days we look at photos on a on our computer screen, but I remember the day, and I still love now, I think, Charlotte, we've spoken before about handing photos round and, you know, passing an album round, or, you know, with people, and it's, oh, do you remember that? And do you remember so-and-so doing that at the wedding? And you know, that there's that wonderful feeling you get with sharing memories through photographs.
Yeah. I think if I can just say, if you don't mind, so as somebody that has got married, the photographer for me was one of the most important people. We didn't want a videographer, and I was quite particular on what photos I wanted. As you both know, I absolutely hate having my picture taken. I was adamant that I didn't want posed photos. I didn't want that whole, the bride and groom go off for an hour and a half and have pictures done while everyone else is hanging around and there's a big lull. I didn't want that. And so I searched high and low for the person that I wanted. And as it happens, he wasn't available on my day, which is fine. I asked him to recommend somebody that was a similar style to him, and he did. And I got to know my photographer and really liked him, like you said, Steve. But one of my biggest regrets of the day is that I don't love my photos, and that for me is you can't get them back. And so you can't tell brides enough how important it is to make sure you like the photographer, you like their work. I told my photographer I don't want post pictures, and yet on the day he still made us spend the hour and a half having the posed photos that we'd said we didn't want. And I think it's really important, like you said, Steve, to make sure the people are your friends, that they'll listen to what you as the bride wants or groom wants or whoever you are. It's so important.
Yeah. I agree with you. And I think what you're saying about the candid photos and people, that's what people want. When I got married, the photographer turned up at the church, took the photos, the group photos. Next time we saw him, he was bringing the photos round to us. Nowadays, you know, people want that documentary style. They want that candid thing. Because there's always photos. People have always got their phones, and, you know, people are getting photos all day at the wedding. But it's the ones that I always get the oohs and ahs from when we're reviewing the photos with the bride and groom are the ones where you've not noticed the moment. And that's my job. I'm there in the evening. I'm there with my longer lens, you know, not in everybody's face, but you know, capturing the you know, the candid moments. And as I say, they're the ones that people love. So, and I think blowing my own trumpet a little bit here at the now, I think one of the things that I bring to a wedding as a wedding photographer is I'm a photographer first and foremost who does weddings rather than a wedding photographer. Now, that might sound like a negative. You guys know, you've seen my website, and you'll know that part of my website is the weddings, but the other things are wild animals. They're portraits, they're music concerts, all the other things that I photograph. And I think what I bring to a wedding is my eyes are always roving for those moments. I'm always looking for, you know, for the things that quite often happen off camera and try and get them on camera. And hopefully that's that's what most people like. If people want post, there's nothing wrong with, you know, some people want the post photos. You know, they want those set up photos, and I can do that. I can absolutely do that. Of course I can. But the things I love the most are the casual ones. I think the part of the day, the only part of the day, hopefully you'll notice me, is when I'm getting people to do the group shots. Because then you've got to direct people and you've got to bring people in, and ask people to step aside a little bit, whatever. I do that with a sense of humour, of course, I hope. So people still feel welcome, you know. But it's the only time of the day I feel you should notice me. I love it when they say to me, "Oh, we didn't realise you took that." Well, that's great. That's my job done then, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that's my style of photography. It's very, you know, hopefully casual, candid, and friendly. You know, getting to know the people at the wedding, not only the bride and groom, but talking to the other guests. And then when you appear with a camera in front of them, it's not like, "Oh God, here he is again." It's kind of, you know, yeah. Oh, it's Steve, you know. So
well, you're clearly very, very passionate about photography, and in particular wedding photography. But what would you say would be like your favourite part of wedding photography?
Of a wedding day?
Yeah.
Of the wedding photography?
Yeah.
There's so many different parts. I love photographing the bride and bridesmaids, you know, in their preparation shots. Before I did my first wedding, I knew there was this thing that went on in the morning, you know, where the brides and the bridesmaids got ready. But, you know, we've all been to weddings and you all know that they're getting ready. But I always imagined that was going to be a really fraught, kind of nerve-wracking time, and, you know, people would be on edge and jumping and, you know, and whatever. And I think after the first or second one, I suddenly realised, wow, this is a really chilled out part of the day. And from a photographer's point of view, it's wonderful for me because obviously I've met the bride before because we've had consultations and maybe an engagement shoot even. But I've probably not necessarily met the bridesmaids unless it's been at the rehearsal or something like that. But that gives me time to talk to them, to take some photos of them, show them the photos that I'm taking, so they go, "Oh yeah, that's nice," you know. You've got a nice camera, and then they start to trust you. You know, too many people get so. Charlotte, nobody likes having their photo taken. But the more relaxed you can make people feel in having their photo taken, the better it's going to be for you. You know, so yeah. So I love that part of the day. Absolutely love that part of the day. The ceremony, of course, is always special. And again, there I feel privileged in being able to do that, because quite often the celebrant or the vicar will say, "We don't want any photos taken during the ceremony. It's up to the official photographer." And I get to stand in the best part of the room normally, you know, and capture those moments. So yeah, it's a little, you know, you're a little bit nervous. I still get nervous before photographing a wedding, but that drives me on, you know, to get the very best shots I can. Be ready when that first kiss comes in and the rings on and those kind of things. Funny enough, one of my favourite bits of the wedding, and it always relaxes people, is when the vicar or celebrant says, "Is there anybody here who knows of any reason this couple can't get married?" or whatever the words are. And there's always that nervous laughter runs through the bridegroom and the congregation. And I always try and capture that moment as well.
Yeah. Can I just ask, while you're talking about kind of ceremonies, some churches don't allow you to take pictures whilst the ceremony is happening at all, do they? Is that correct?
I've never come across that. But then I always make sure, if it's a church, for instance, I always do my very best to go to the rehearsal with the bride, you know, with the bride and groom and the family and everything like that. So I get to meet the vicar or the father or whoever's running the ceremony, so they know you're doing your best for them. The thing they object to, I think, the most, there's a couple of things I would say is, first of all, nobody would like flash photography during the ceremony. Yeah. So of course I don't use flash during any ceremony. And the second thing is, of course, you're not allowed to photograph the signing of the register. Okay. Because of data protection. So you always have to redo that with a false, you know, like a blank page. Yeah, a prop or a blank page. But while the bride and groom are signing the register, I then turn around to the congregation and start taking photos of the congregation chatting amongst each other and whatever, you know. So there's not a wasted moment. But I've never come across anybody, any celebrant who's frowned upon the photography. I think people realise nowadays, you know, everybody wants the photos. So yeah. But I always try and work with the vicar or celebrant to make sure that we do it as smoothly as possible. And of course, they don't want you changing positions all the time. And I always check where they want. Is it okay for me to move, or should I stay in that one place, or is it okay if I move to this bit, to that part of the? But you can run through all that at the rehearsal. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, Steve. So it's now time for your this or that game.
Great.
Make sure you pick wisely because you could fall out with one of us about it.
I know exactly which question.
Okay, so early or night time?
Early.
Optimist or realist?
Optimist.
Flowers or chocolates?
Flowers.
Is that what you give or what you like to receive?
Both. Both. My wife buys me flowers occasionally.
Oh, that's lovely.
Well, I say that because she's a horticulturalist, she actually probably picks them for me. But yeah, I love receiving flowers as well as giving flowers.
Oh. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Introvert or extrovert?
You tell me.
Extrovert.
For sure.
Yeah.
Big wedding or intimate wedding?
For my wedding or for my clients?
For your wedding.
For my wedding, big but intimate.
I love that question.
I'll go big.
Okay, quiet or loud?
Loud.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Planner or spontaneous?
That's quite an involved one. It starts out as being a plan, but it gets very spontaneous. Spontaneous.
Grey's Anatomy or Breaking Bad?
There's only one answer to that, Charlotte.
Exactly. So pick the right one.
Breaking Bad.
Hey!
That's it.
I thought I'd lost you for a second then.
I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm over it. Always late or always early?
Always early.
Yeah, I think you're always early. Chocolate or sweets?
Chocolate. Chocolate.
I think I'm going to add another one on the end of this. Team Jordan or Team Maisie?
Team all of it. Team bride and groom to give them the best experience they're going to ever have.
I think that's my new favourite question.
How awkward can you make someone feel?
Yeah.
How did I do with that one?
Awful. You said Breaking Bad, so that's just it.
With that last question.
No, Steve, you're on to a winner. You're done.
Breaking Bad, definitely.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve. It's been so lovely to chat to you.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you both as well. Always lovely to see you. And under the current circumstances, it's, you know, thank God for all these platforms we can meet up on and support each other, because it's very important at the moment that you know, it can be quite lonely, quite lonely at the moment, trying to find business and deal with business. But having a team like you guys, I count myself very lucky. So thank you. Thank you for. So yeah.
So before we say goodbye, can you leave us with your biggest piece of advice that you would give to brides when they're looking for a photographer?
Apart from books, Steve Tye Photography.
It's a show for you to pick yourself, Steve.
No, my biggest piece of advice is make sure that you like and trust the person that you book to do your photography. You're going to be working very closely with them, and you need to know that you're going to have somebody there who's going to do everything in their power to make sure your day goes smoothly.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Steve. It's lovely to see you.
It's an absolute pleasure seeing you both.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Nice to see you.